Okay. And how about... Okay.
No, 20,000 euro for stage 1 instead of 500. And again, you mentioned the issue of air ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling us that Oyo State should be responsible for your air ticket and accommodation in Nigeria?
Yes, we are not able to make a proper calculation for these expenses, which are not part of our services anyhow. I mean, this is just running costs, which we do not take.
The 20,000 euro we are proposing now, what's it meant for?
These are the main days rates for the people coming to Nigeria, working on a main day basis in Nigeria.
So, and it's not inclusive of the air ticket and accommodation?
No, it does not include any.
Well, usually, you know, the situation is, if you rob my back, I rob yours. The governor was invited to Germany on your invitation, and he paid for his ticket and accommodation, which was borne by the state government. So if you are now asking your state to pay for your air ticket and accommodation in Nigeria, to me, it's administratively inappropriate. So the government might not approve that. So they will expect you, after making a payment of 20,000 euro, as a sign of commitment and seriousness on the part of your state government, we expected you to be responsible for your accommodation and your air ticket. The only thing we can give you is adequate security protection. Nothing will happen to you. And we give you local transportation when you arrive in Oyo State. We can do that. We pick you from the airport, and then we serve accommodation for you, which is good, which are of international standard as well. And then we give you adequate maximum security guarantee for your safety. That is what the government can do.
All right. Okay. I cannot comment this at the moment because I have to make a proper calculation whether we can put this in within this budget.
Yes.
But just for the sake of being very clear, we do calculate on a man-day basis. We have man-day rates. Our man-day rates usually do not cover these kind of reimbursable expenses, and we do not profit on these expenses. I mean, this is just a running cost through our account, and we can do both. We can either calculate within or exclusive. But if we want to calculate within our budget, we need to know the particular costs. And since we are not aware of those detailed expenses, we did not calculate them, or we were not able to calculate them within the budget. And of course, we will only charge this budget, or we only charge these costs which really occurred. So we will demonstrate what we paid for our fees, we will demonstrate what we paid for any other expenses, and of course we only charge those man-days we really consumed. So if we talk about the budget in the contract, for example, please don't take it as final costs. It is a budget. So if we don't use up the budget up to 500,000 euros, as we outlined in the proposal, we will not charge 500,000 euros.
Please, the second stage of the
Excuse me, sir.
What does that entail?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. On the first stage, when the discussion of expenses of air ticket came up, I make it clear to Mr. Ofla that please, the government of Oyo State will take care of the fee. I have a reason for that, because when I saw the proposal that they are paying for the air ticket, the amount that was charged on what they are booking is too high. So, and I know I can arrange air fee very, very low, cheap price, which is more acceptable in my own view. That instead of, like they propose a 2,000 euro flight for one person, and I say no, I will book the ticket, and I know I can get ticket for everybody for 700 euro or less. So I make Mr. Ofla to know, please, these expenses of air ticket, I can reduce the cost for your state by booking it from my own side to be very cheap. And that is where the air ticket something was definitely quite different from the way I would book it when they are coming. So I know how to get the air fee cheaper. Mr. Abanjo. Yes, sir. The issue at stake is simple. Yeah. The government is not going to pay for their air flight or ticket to Nigeria or accommodation.
Now, just shed
It's their
a
sole
light.
responsibility
Yeah.
to sort that out before leaving Germany.
Okay.
What we are going to do is to provide a local transportation and then provide maximum security protection for their stay in Oyo State.
Okay.
No government will do that. And I'm not going to recommend that
Okay.
to the executive governor of Oyo State for consideration. Because they will query that. And you know what I mean.
I
You know what I
understand,
mean.
of course.
So let us make it clear now.
For you.
And sorry. And then on the issue of the first stage, let us just clear it once and for all.
Yeah, you are doing that.
That is all. Then before we move to another stage.
Yeah, do you want to say something, please?
So just for your understanding, this proposal was made in the very best faith, and as Mr. Banyo explained, it was in order to reduce costs, overall costs, because from our experience in other projects where this procedure was taken successfully, where the governments of other states did look after the airfares, the accommodation and these things, and that was for the very best of the client. So this is the aim to have the best value for the price for Oyo State, and this was the motivation for us to exclude these running costs from the price we offered.
I understand and I appreciate that. But let me just tell you one thing. You know, this issue is based on the mutually beneficial relationship.
Sure.
You understand?
Yeah, sure.
It's like two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
We cannot protect one side and leave other side unprotected. You understand? Initially, we appreciate this initiative and we really commend the efforts of our brother there.
Mhm.
He has been working on this for the past 3 years.
Mhm.
And then we believe that it's going to come to a reality by the grace of God. Having said that, our people will look at it from this angle. You look for us, you're looking for a business. So you sent a proposal to us in Oyo State, which we vetted, which we x-rayed, and then trying to consider. It was not that, okay, Oyo State was looking for a foreign investor here and there. Are you getting my point? So it's because you came to us, as even that we were looking for you. Oh, we need this thing urgently, desperately. So you come and do it for us. We need this thing like yesterday. Yes, or yes, okay. Because we are very desperate, we can do this, we can do that. Am I making point? But it's because you sent the proposal to us. You are sitting down. You sent the proposal to us. Okay, this is good for the state, so we can do this for you. So if you think you are capable of doing this for us, which I believe you have been doing for so many years and for many states,
Mhm.
you understand?
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
Mhm.
But on the issue of your accommodation, all sort of thing, so that will be your sole responsibility.
Okay, excuse me, sir. Can I come in on one thing? The state government of Hamburg didn't look for you.
Okay.
Let me correct that. Can straight. They didn't look for this contract from Oyo State. I went to our CEO of PVG VHH on bet. For the past 3 years, it took me a lot of effort to confuse them that Nigeria is conducive for business. When the Kano people came, Hamburg Consult was not consulted. They didn't come into the contract. They signed and said, call Mr. Ofla that I think the way I'm seeing the people, they are serious. I now bring in Oyo State government. I was born in the Ibadan, and I am bound to do something bad to where I'm born. But I hear when you are bringing Kano to Hamburg Consult, that the same way that the partnership agreement was signed, do it for Oyo State. Mr. Ofla said, what did you expect us to do? I said, please, make sure that the visit of Oyo State should be on state government of Hamburg, where he will be receiving.
Site visit, if not proceeding with the project afterwards. That's clear. It
And what I
doesn't-
mean is this.
Uh-huh.
You know, the 30,000 euro
Yeah.
is for the stage one, which is consultancy.
And it's just covering the local expense or the expenses for the experts
Mhm.
and let's say, to bring over tools, know-how, and to do data mining, to understand what are the local circumstances, what kind of requirements we will have to take care for when doing the feasibility study, and so on and so forth.
And also to check what kind of methodology to apply, which are to understand at site what data is available, what methodology, because our methodology, we have different methodologies, and we have to have the suitable methodology for the circumstances on site.
Okay.
What kind of data is available?
What is suitable?
Yeah, what is
It's a
suitable
scientific
text.
study, actually.
Yes,
so
after the
it has-
study, you give us a report for stage 1.
you will
Yeah,
get
there should be a report after the
kind of
study.
an interim report.
That's-
So what we
that's-
did during
that's-
this first mission,
That's good.
this is what is said in this contract.
That's-
And
Then
also
the-
how to proceed.
We're actually preparing, by the way, we're actually preparing exactly this for a project we are doing in Bandung in Indonesia.
Okay. Now the stage 2, what does it entail?
The stage 2
Yes.
will be the elaboration of the feasibility study, which contains of a passenger demand analysis, so to understand what is the structure of the population in the area, who is potentially traveling with whatever system implemented, where are the catchment areas, what system would be most suitable to transport people within this area, what infrastructure requirements are resulting out of the implementation of a public transport system, and how we can define major corridors for future traffic flow within this region, within this place. This is planning.
And gentlemen of the press, you are part of this family as well.
It's true, yeah?
Yeah, sure,
It's
sure.
very,
Yeah.
very correct.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, I think like what he explained, I did regional planning, and that's my area of specialization here from University of Calabar.
okay.
And what he just explained is practically true. Like the stage 1 of the show of the project can only be conclusive after having some empirical data,
Yes.
from which they can say how many people is living where, how many buses can run this route, how big is going to be the flow. Because if you are taking a flow from little cities, they come to a major cities where instead of having 2 buses that applies there with about 20 millimeter or 30 millimeter bus, it changes to about 50 millimeter bus because the flow is getting in there and increases the volume of passengers. So like I said, Honorable Commissioner, your approach is good. The approach is also good. First stage, you return back to the government. They come there, see the data on the ground, and they can, probably
Then we execute.
execution exactly. So.
My brother.
And
Well, okay. I wanted to just add. Well, normally the ethics of our job would have restricted us adding here, but since we were
Of course.
explicitly
You're free to
invited, we can talk. I'm Nigerian too,
Oh.
and it is something very passionate. It's something
Nigerian
very.
diaspora. So that's
Yeah.
why I
It is
asked you
something.
to talk.
Yes, he was part of us.
Let it be a collaborative.
Yeah,
How do we?
it's something
approach.
very passionate for me to see a state this interested in bringing best practice. I don't say know-how, I say best practice for reasons, you know. I am from a policy background, so. Yeah, what I would have thought, especially in the stage 2, an advice to the state is that, you know, if the state understands what the stage 2 really implies, what is it that is actually required in the stage 2, some of this data collection can be supplied by the state. It reduces cost. So some of these things, because, for example, if the state is saying that the influx of passengers from the rural areas to the city of Ibadan is on this stage, you don't need to come and study that from Germany because you have this data already. So the state should now do some of these local things, reducing cost.
May I add, it's only the base to work with the tools.
Yeah, they can
And,
supply it.
yeah,
That's what
and
I'm
the
saying.
tools
If they
are
can
ISO
supply it.
and other tools which are, as you said, are best practice.
That's right. Very true. I have to say it's a very competent statement. Let me give you a short anecdote just to illustrate what we usually learn in this context of running feasibility studies or proposing how to implement a public transport system in places where there's no history of public transportation for various reasons. I recently came back, only a few weeks ago, I came back from this Bandung in Indonesia, which is a wonderful city, and I think to a certain extent comparable with what we are talking about Ibadan. I mean, I've never been in Ibadan yet, but there was an investor from China and from Malaysia, a big trust property investment group, suggesting we would like to build real estate property development along a river stretch in Bandung, and we would like to connect this property development with a public transportation system, since we don't see there's any provision of public transportation in Bandung, and we fear that our customers may not be able to roam around in town freely, because there's a terrific traffic situation. They have a dense population in downtown area. Everyone has cars, and there's traffic jam all over the day, and beside of pollution and all these other side effects. So we went there with a whole delegation from Malaysia, from China, and we did a lot of conferencing and we did a lot of calculation. I advised them how to proceed with that, and then I suggested to them, okay, let me see how we can reduce costs for the feasibility study, exactly the same approach as you did, and whether there are data available from Bandung municipality who have a University of Technology in town. You might still have some time to enjoy
Yes.
the duty-free shopping. Or
Well, on behalf of His Excellency, the Executive Governor, represented by the Honorable Commissioner, Director, and other officials from Oyo State, gentlemen of the press, I think we are here, we've gone around, we've seen your capabilities, your potentials, and we believe you can be of great assistance to us in achieving best practices in some areas of our development in Oyo State. The bus project is very good, and we shall be looking forward to it. And the car park project also is very desirable. And like I said, we are already working on that. Even back to very have some investors. They're going to put it on hold so that when you come, we can work together, so that it will be a bit of synergy between our own investors, local investors, and those coming from here. So please, the data requested for by the commissioner, let's get it in good time, because we assist in giving a report when we get back home. I really want to thank on behalf of government for the hospitality and the way you see us. We want to assure you that when you come to Nigeria, you also see good things in Oyo State. Like I said, Oyo State is the pacesetter state. It's the pacesetter state in Nigeria, and our governor is the best governor in Nigeria. The president man of press, please, that is the situation. So I will thank you and God bless you. And our brother, Mr. Banjo, will thank you so much for doing a good job. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for coming here, and we send our very best regards, and thank you to His Excellency.
yàtọ̀ mo máa tún gbélé ó tún gbélé eré olóyin mọ́mọ́ nọ́mbà ìyàtọ̀ mo máa tún gbélé. ènìyàn mi o mo wá fẹ́ sọ̀tàn kan ẹ jẹ́ tí ẹ bá mi gbọ́. ènìyàn mi o mo wá fẹ́ sọ̀tàn kan ẹ jẹ́ tí ẹ bá mi gbọ́. bàbá kan láyé àtijọ́ ọgbọ́n lórúkọ rẹ̀ ó níyàwó méjì olówó kò sí bímọ. ó ṣiṣẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ó dàbí pé kò bọ́ sí i. ó lè lé adáhùn ṣe ó dàbí pé kò bọ́ sí i. ó lè lé oníṣègùn ó dàbí pé kò bọ́ sí i. ó bá tẹlẹ́dùmarè lọ. ó bá ṣàlàyé f'Ẹlẹ́dùmarè ó ní Ẹlẹ́dùmarè níjọ́ tó ti dáhùn sáyé òun ṣiṣẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ òun relé adáhunṣe òun relé oníṣègùn àmọ́ kò bọ́ sí òun ò lówó lọ́wọ́ òun ò sì bímọ. Ẹlẹ́dùmarè elétí ìgbàlóyè mi. Ẹlẹ́dùmarè elétí ìgbàlóyè mi. ó bá kóhun mẹ́rin lọ́kọ̀ fún bàbá yẹn kò gbọ́dọ̀ mú jù kan lọ. ó ṣe kísà yẹ òun. bàbá wa ọ̀run ṣe kísà. ó fún wa ní jíjẹ ó fún wa ní mímu. bàbá wa ó ṣe kísà ó.